So what can I say about the Nintendo Switch that hasn't been said ad nauseum already? On the one hand, it is shaping up to be an excellent console, having a brand new Zelda, Mario, and Xenoblade within the first year, and even later this year we're getting a new Smash Bros. And a new Pokemon game, and even in the future we're getting a new Fire Emblem, Metroid Prime, and Animal Crossing. Third-party support has also been pretty strong, and overall it just seems as if everyone is loving this thing. But on the other hand, with the third-party support anyways, they tend to come out significantly later than the other versions. Granted, with games like Skyrim, Doom, LA Noire, those games came out before the Switch was even a thing, so that's not what I'm talking about. But what I am talking about are the games like Dark Souls, Crash Bandicoot, you could even say Spyro to an extent, even though the game hasn't been confirmed for the Switch yet, despite the fact that it's already been leaked on that one website. I've heard people say that the third-party developers aren't treating Nintendo with the kind of priority that they should. Like, the Switch ports really aren't that important, or rather they just feel like an afterthought. And that's not even bringing up the numerous hardware problems, like the Switch cracking and bending when you have it docked for too long. Sometimes the Joy-Cons get disconnected. That's how I got fucking killed in this thing of Dark Souls right here, but you know. But of course, another issue that many people have with the Switch is all of the Wii U ports. You got the Wii U ports being charged for full retail price, and there's just an overall lack of brand new Nintendo games. Even the previously mentioned Zelda game, the game that helped make the Switch what it is today, is technically a Wii U port. So yeah, on the one hand you got people praising this thing, saying that it's going to be one of the best Nintendo consoles of all time, and on the other hand you got people saying that it's overhyped due to the underwhelming first-party support. Where do I stand on this? Well, like a lot of people who ask that question, I'm somewhere in the middle. I dump a lot of time playing on my Switch. I love playing this thing in handheld mode, even if it means that the graphics are going to be toned down or it's going to run at 30 frames per second. Playing this way is just super convenient for me. While there are a lot of ports, I do think it's nice to have these games portable, and that's part of the appeal of these ports, for me anyways. On top of this, while the Switch is heavy on the ports, we now have a console where you can play the newest Mario, Sonic, Crash, Mega Man, and even potentially Spyro games. The last console to my memory that can do that was the GameCube, and even then I've heard mixed things about the likes of Wrath of Cortex and Hero's Tale. Plus, I can see that Nintendo is giving their first-party games a lot of love. Again, within the first year, we had of course Zelda, Mario, and Xenoblade, and we're going to be getting more of these kind of games in the near future. The Switch's library is definitely diverse. I don't think anyone can argue against that. But the one thing that the Switch has going for it is raw potential. Can this new console be one of the best Nintendo consoles? Could this even top the GameCube as my personal favorite console of all time? It absolutely can, but there are still things I think need to be fixed, and there are things that I would personally like to see on the Switch. So the first thing I would like to see is a new Golden Sun game, but aside from that, the Virtual Console needs to come back in some way, shape, or form. You know, despite the fact that we already know that the Virtual Console brand is kind of dead at this point. We have that thing where we could play NES games for free with that paid online service. I'll get on that in a bit, but I think we need something just more than that. There was that time where we had a leaked image of a Super Nintendo controller that was found, and then there was also that thing that was discovered a little while ago that had the N64, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance logos on it or something like that. It had a whole bunch of other consoles listed there as well, so that could potentially lead to something like the Virtual Console. Or, you know, maybe it won't. We don't know. Honestly, at this point, I don't understand why they don't take a page out of Sega's book and just release classic game compilations. Now, can you just imagine how well a collection of, let's just say, like 50 Super Nintendo games would sell? You got the SNES Mini, that thing sold like crazy, and that had like, what, 21 games? And I get that probably won't ever happen, seeing how Nintendo can just keep making mini versions of these consoles and charge extra for them, because you got that little novelty thing there. But seeing how the Virtual Console has been on the past 3 Nintendo systems, it just feels like a huge waste not having it on the Switch. You know, just give me a way to play my N64, Game Boy Advance, give me a way to play those games on my Switch, and I'll be good. Speaking of which, I've been holding out hope that we would get some sort of way to play 3DS games through the Switch and onto the TV. Something like the PlayStation TV comes to mind. You can tell me about how bad the picture's going to look, and I'll be the first guy to admit that I don't really know anything about pixels or dithering or interlacing or any of that kind of stuff, but I just know that 3DS capture cards are not only incredibly expensive, but they're also extremely rare. I mean, just for context, like, you know how many 3DS games I want to cover on this channel? Because there are a lot, and I can't really do that, seeing how I have no way to comfortably record 3DS footage. And don't tell me to get one from Katsu Kitty or whatever, because I've heard only terrible things about their servers, about how it takes forever to get there, and how the customer service is apparently really lousy. They don't really keep you up to date as to the things that you need to know. And don't tell me about the custom firmware and KitKat, because I've tried it and I'm not really satisfied with the results. Plus, whenever I use KitKat, it always makes my internet crash for some reason. And you know, I get it, this is more about a rant about me not having a 3DS capture card and how badly I need one, but I want a way to comfortably record my 3DS footage. So Nintendo needs to make like a Switch TV or something like that. At this point, why not? Sony's always been pretty notorious in the past for copying a lot of Nintendo's ideas and strategies, so you know, why not, give them the little, just desserts if you catch my drift. You know what else I think would actually be pretty cool? A new Golden Sun game, but aside from that, having more customization and being able to personalize our consoles a little bit more would be great. I'm talking about like different themes, custom profiles, all of that good stuff. Having different folders to keep your games organized in would be great. Precise playtime recorded as opposed to the general playtime. You know, maybe a way to list your favorite games like how it's done on Steam. I'm talking about stuff like that. The 3DS had different themes that you can get for free. You can buy some as well. But even with the PSP, you can import pictures from your computer onto that console, so you can have whatever that you want as your background. And I know that modders have already implemented this. Actually, they've done a lot of the kind of stuff that I've been wanting them to do, but at the same time, I don't want to have to mod my Switch or to put custom firmware on here, you know? Like, I want this stuff officially, and I don't want to risk getting banned online or breaking my console just to play like a GBA emulator to have a cool custom theme. With the Switch being so early in its life cycle, it's just not worth it. I think the last big feature that I want to see is a more worthwhile online service. You know, right off the bat, $20 a year, that's not bad, but that's also not what people are mad about. They're not mad about the price point. They're mad because it's not really a good enough incentive to have this paid online. Like if we look at cloud saves, for example, you look at the Xbox One, that's something that you get for free, whether or not you have the paid membership. Plus, with the gold membership, you get 2 free games a month. And I got games like Metal Gear Solid 5, Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing Transform, Dragon Age Origins. I got those games for free. With the Switch's paid online, I got Super Mario Brothers. But I can play online. That's great. I don't care. Another issue that I have with the paid service is that we still don't know what kind of rewards that we're going to be getting for having the service. And I know we're going to be getting exclusive discounts, but on what? This kind of ties into a different topic, but there's a lot of actual crap on the eShop. Don't give us discounts on this kind of crap. Give us discounts actually worthwhile, but I think that goes without saying. Lastly, with the new online, just make it work. Just make it good. We have to pay for online now, so when that new Smash Brothers comes around and it's going to be the same as Smash 4, then we're going to have issues. And I only bring this up because Nintendo has always had a nasty reputation for the poor online, despite the fact that in the past it was free. Even something like Splatoon 2. My friend Jeb, the Black Hooded Gamer, can tell you horror stories about the bullshit that he deals with the game, like with the lag and hit markers and all that kind of stuff. And he actually made a video about it. If you want to check that out, you totally should, because he tears that game a new one and it's glorious. So in terms of features, I think that's really it. So to recap, you know, a virtual console or a way to play, you know, the retro games like Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, all that good stuff. Custom themes, profiles, all that good stuff, a strong online, and of course worthwhile rewards and deals. Really, when I think about the stuff that I want the most when it comes to the Switch, it mostly boils down to the games. Seeing how this is a wide topic, I'm going to try to boil it down to 3 categories: first-party ports and compilations, third-party ports, and new first-party support. So in terms of the first-party ports, I just want them to port whatever's left on the Wii U. It's clear that Nintendo wants to forget that console ever existed, so why not just put the final nails in the coffin? 3 games specifically come to mind: Xenoblade Chronicles X, Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE, and Super Mario Maker. Those, I feel, are the last few genuinely great games on the Wii U. And you might be thinking, hey, what about Wonderful 101? Hey, what about Star Fox Zero? Hey, what about Super Mario 3D World? I mean, sure, why not? I'm not against it. In the case of Star Fox Zero, I'd rather just get a new game, but, you know, I get the game has its fans, so I'd be fine to see it on the Switch. It's more so that if I had to pick the last few games to be ported to the Switch, it would be these 3. With the case of Mario Maker, I'd take that or a Mario Maker 2. Mario Maker had a massive community and presence on platforms like Twitch and YouTube, and I think it'd be great to see it come back on the Switch. It'd be smart to treat this game as a platform, adding content regularly in the forms of new hazards, items, costumes, and more themes, all of that good stuff. Port, sequel, I'll take either as long as it's supported with continuous updates. Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE, I think, went under a lot of people's radar, seeing how when you announced that that's going to be a Fire Emblem Shin Megami Tensei crossover, we weren't expecting this. But from the people who have played it, I hear it's a genuinely great RPG, and I'm sure it is. I have it, but I haven't played it. but re-releasing it on the Switch might do the game justice, seeing how the Switch has a much wider audience than the Wii U. In the case of Xenoblade Chronicles X, I really like this game, alright? I mean, I think Xenoblade and Tokyo Mirage Sessions, they would have sold better if they were on a better console, or rather a more successful console. Honestly, with Xenoblade, I think it'd also be smart to port the Wii game on there as well, so we'd have Xenoblade Chronicles X, and also Xenoblade 2 on there. All Xenoblade's one console. I think a lot of people will get down with that. Speaking of which, and this is like my Hail Mary in terms of like ports, I have been dying for a Zelda remake collection. You know, I think it's possible we can get Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD on the Switch, but I would also love to see Ocarina of Time 3D and Majora's Mask 3D on that thing as well. And I could see the announcement in my head, you know, showing all 4 Zelda games running on the Switch, and then it fades to black, and then boom, they announced Skyward Sword HD, and you got every single 3D Zelda game playable on one console. Bam! That's how you make the best console of all time. That's how you fucking do it, kiddo! Oh, God, that is wishful thinking, though. That's never gonna happen. You know, I feel like talking about Skyward Sword HD is also kind of like dipping my toes into new first-party support, so I guess I might as well just talk about this then. And honestly, like, it's the kind of games that I would love to see Nintendo put on the Switch is the kind of stuff that you'd expect from these shill videos, I guess. You know, like, oh yeah, it'd be great to have a new F-Zero, a new Pikmin, a new Star Fox. How about a good Pokemon game and none of that Sun and Moon crap? I brought up Mario Maker, you know, or sequel, but do any of you remember that one successor to Eternal Darkness that was a thing a while ago called Shadows of the Eternal? It looked promising as all hell, and it was supposed to have the same kind of sanity system as the GameCube game, but with modern gameplay. Unfortunately, like a lot of Kickstarter projects, this one didn't hit the mark that it needed to, but then again, it might have something to do with the fact that this game was, you know, being a thing, it was trying to get funded around the same time as Mighty Number 9, so that certainly doesn't help. But on a brighter note, Silicon Knights said that the game is still on the table and that they are down to make it, and I would totally be down to see this game come back to life. And I know it's not a Nintendo game, I'm putting it out there because Nintendo published the original Eternal Darkness. That was a Nintendo exclusive, so I would like to see the Eternal games. I would like to see more come out of this Eternal brand. So last but not least, we got the third-party support, and there are 2 games that just immediately spring to mind. We got Final Fantasy 15 and Overwatch, and I know that they've said it before, that, you know, they tried porting this game to the Switch, but they just couldn't get it working. But I think if Nintendo just kept slapping in their face with a big old wad of cash, man, they could get something working, no problem. Really, and this is going to sound a bit weird, but I want to see more MMO support on here. We have games like Warframe coming to the Switch, and that one, you know, it's a game that a lot of people like. I couldn't get behind it, but, you know, it's good for the people who do enjoy it. Phantasy Star Online 2 was on the Switch, but it's still Japan exclusive. And it pisses me off because apparently the game is really freaking good, and back in 2012 they said that this game is going to be coming to the West, and we still haven't gotten anything after 6 years! Oh sure, yeah, they say that they're looking into it, but that's a load of shit, and you know it, because it has been 6 years! Where is it? On another note, there are 2 MMOs that I've been playing as of recently, and I'm sure that neither of them are ever going to be coming to consoles, but I think it'd be nice nonetheless. First is MapleStory 2, and this one came out on Steam fairly recently, and a lot of people seem to like it. I myself haven't put a lot of time in this game, but it is something I can see myself dumping hundreds and hundreds of hours into. What World of Warcraft was to a lot of other people, MapleStory was for me when I was like 8 years old. I think this game would absolutely work on the Switch, seeing how it's not too graphically intensive and also has like a really cute art style, and it fits right in with the Switch's library. Plus, you know, the game is free, so it's nice, and y'all should play it. The second game I would like to see is a little game called Closers: Dimensional Conflict. Like MapleStory 2, this was released on Steam earlier this year. It's a side-scrolling hack-and-slash beat-em-up type of MMO that takes place in South Korea, and you have to push back against the forces of an alien menace from a different dimension. It's a ridiculous premise, but it actually has a very entertaining plot with some interesting NPCs. And it plays really smooth. With all the chaos that goes on in this game, it runs at a mostly consistent 60 frames per second. And my laptop isn't the most powerful thing out there. Actually, all things considered, it's pretty weak, but it can run this game like a dream. So I'm sure it could work on the Switch as well. I really don't see this one getting a port job though, seeing how this is way more niche than something like MapleStory 2, but damn, it would make me really happy. And that's really all I have to say on the topic, so what kind of things would you like to— Oh. Yeah, actually, I made a video about what I'd like to see come out of this franchise a while ago, so you should— Okay, look, I'll be honest, I don't know if we're getting anything out of Camelot. They seem to be hell-bent on making more of these Mario sports games, so... Oh my god. Oh my god!